So there's a beautiful channel on YouTube by these folks at VR Dream Plus. They offer this 2.9 gig download. I've got it on my computer over here. I've downloaded the RAR, I've expanded it. I've got the project open over here in Unreal. And when I open it up, I see that there's some errors. And I don't know what those exactly point at, but I know after I look around the scene that there are some problems with the geometry. Now these folks are giving this stuff away for free, so we can't really complain about problems. We don't know what their workflow is all about, so if their shaders have weird names, it might be just the way that they had to work within their pipeline. So we can't really be that critical. So all we can do is, fix it up, try to solve the puzzle. I'm looking at this couch right now, and I know from the video over here that this should have some really beautiful stuff on it, but instead it's got this weird wood texture, and that's problematic. So I'm going to export it and take a look at the UVs, take a look at the geometry, repaint it, and then send it back in. If I just export it from here, I'm afraid that it's going to be in some strange position in space. So I'm just going to set up a new level. In this file, I did have to look around, and I found in this folder called Wooty, there was a couch. Now this is a big project, lots of stuff. So this Wooty folder is where this fine individual has placed their couch. And if I drag it out onto the scene, I can see it's got the wood texture. It's got a strange rotation to it, but just to make my life easier in the long run, I am just going to zero off its location. I don't need this plane here. Yeah, I'm going to grab that. I'm just going to export this object. Currently has a weird name, Shafa. I'm just going to export the selected object and give it the name couch. Export it as FBX, leave everything pretty much default. And I can see right away when I get into Substance, if I create a new file, I'm just going to select that geometry and start throwing some textures on it, just to triple check to make sure everything is working properly. Yeah, you can see that location is already defined as being one material ID. The feet are something else. It looks like the pillows are unique. I'm just throwing random textures at it. This isn't going to be my final decision because I do want to clean up these material names. So these textures have strange names called Shafa, and down the line that's going to be problematic for me. So I'm going to try Maya as a tool where I can quickly, using the Hypershade editor, rename these things. So I'm going to import this FBX file. I've centered it off when I exported it, so it should land inside my viewport after it's done its chunking. It's got a goofy name right now. The file's called Shafa2, so I'm just going to double click on that and just call it my couch. And that's going to give it that name when I bring it back into Unreal. So I'm just going to take a look from the top and deal with that rotation problem from earlier that I noticed. I'm just going to use my eyes to try to level that off as best as I can. And of course, I need to do my freezing of my transforms. Yeah, that should be good. And now in Hypershade, my good friend, I can see all of the different nodes that were set up by this person, Shafa. And I'm not sure which is which right now. So I'm just going to keep my eyes on the geometry in the background. As I right click, I can actually say I want to select the objects with the materials. Now I am going to step back one sec and show you something important. When you're doing an import, you might need to uncheck this box because it could combine all the materials, but it seems to be doing the job. It grabbed those two pillows that I know are unique because I played around with it first in my good friend Substance. And I'm going to go back to my Hypershader. And I'm going to hold down Control and double click on that and give this the name Couch Pillows. And Is this one assigned? Select objects with materials. Yep. Looks to be the pillow and the blanket. So control double click. Blanket with pillow. What about this one down here? Right click, select objects with materials. That's the main couch. Control click. Couch main. And I'm being consistent with the name by putting the word couch in the front. Made the mistake here, so double click on that. I just want to keep these consistent. So when things start to line up in my other tools, I can see them clearly. All right, couch on blanket pillow. I'm using camel casing when I do this. So right click, select objects with materials, and it would appear as though those are the feet. All right, so control double click, and those are the couch feet. So I've done the transform, the rotation. I've put it at 0, and I have frozen all of my transforms. So I should be able to grab this object that I've renamed and export that back out again. I'm gonna try something here. It might break the world. I don't know, we'll see here in a second. I'm just gonna overwrite this FBX. Since I've imported it into Maya, there's no relationship to this file anymore. So I can just overwrite this one. And then when I go back into Substance, I can create a new file. I'm going to keep my resolution at 1024, keep things smaller, bring in that geometry again, open it up. And now what I should see over here, ooh, nice. Everything's nicely named. I can see them very, very clearly. And I'm just going to throw at this. Everything's nicely lined up now, which is good. I'm going to start to throw different textures that I want to use. So this fabric rough is really nice. I do want to point out that, you know, substances, as they call them, these textures and materials inside of Substance Painter are so awesome because there's a base color below it. So I can actually take a moment now to just make a decision what color I want my couch to be. If I want it to be like this beigey gray, I can do that. Maybe I want to be a little bit more playful with this pillow and have a matching blanket with it. And I think there's a denim in here as well. So I'm just going to throw that on the pillows. So now we have a denim set of pillows. The feet, can't forget those. I'm going to throw those down here, and we get this beautiful wood texture on the feet. Awesome. So I think I'm done. I do want to save this as, I'm going to put this in the couch project directory as my couch texturing project for Substance. And then I'm just going to export all of my textures out, choose a folder, and make sure I've got that in the right place. I'm going to create a new folder for this called my couch textures. And what's awesome is that I have all these presets that I can pick from. Now, just to make a case, I mean, the Arnold AI standard textures are pretty awesome, but there is the Unreal 4 Pact. And Pact is an interesting concept because 3 of the shader channels inside of Unreal can be driven by the red and green and blue channels from within one file, which is awesome because you're saving space in the long run. And then I can see the list of all the different textures that I want to send out, and then I just click export, and it's really that easy and that fast. It's pretty epic. Save this up again, quit Substance, hop over here and just take a look at what happened. It's like, whoa, look at all these files that it created. And you'll see these weird ones, Occlusion, Roughness, and Metallic. Each one of these different shader properties is going to be driven by the different channels that are built into this file, like the red, the green, and the blue. And they'll be split out as grayscale. So instead of having 3 separate files for those 3 separate channels, we have them baked into one. which is going to save a ton of space. We've got normal, and we've got our base color. Roughness is even in there as well, which is super awesome. Cool. So I think we're done. We've renamed our textures so we can find them really easy. I'm going to get out of Maya here. I've exported the FBX again. I know so because I worked with it inside of our good friend Substance. So I'm going to get out of Maya. I'm going to save the scene just in case. I'm going to keep it for later. Couch, I'm going to call it working, just in case I want to get in there and do some modeling with it, or fix up some UVs or something like that. All right, so now that I'm back in this world, I can grab this object, which had a name I didn't quite like, Shaffa, and thank you if that is the name of the developer who did the hard work. I'm going to set up a new project just to make this a much easier space to work in. I don't need the starter content, and I'm just going to call this my house, where my couch is going to live. My house too. So I already have one called my house. Don't save anything, that's fine. I don't want to break their hard work. And just wait for Unreal to do its job, compiling shaders and getting the environment all ready to go. And I'm just going to be pragmatic, create several folders here. And this is just the way I like to work. So I like to have a folder called textures, and I like to have a folder called props. And I like to have a folder called levels. And I'm immediately going to save this level just to be sure that I don't lose it. All right, so my props. I'm going to go into that directory. I'm going to click the import button, and I'm going to head over to my couch project and grab the couch FBX. And it's not going to be textured yet, and that is fine, but it should recognize, first of all of the sub-objects, which is kind of cool because I can break them apart independently and animate them if I wanted to, or maybe make the couch explode in the game. But here we go. This is where things are really great. I can see quite clearly each one of my texture channels, each one of my shaders, which is awesome. Super powerful. Now, what I'm about to show you would be a lot easier with two monitors. I don't have that luxury when I'm recording my screen. So in textures, I'm going to grab all of those files that were over here. I'm just going to drag them on in. And don't be worried. These are actually now being copied into the Unreal Project folder. So there's a whole new set of files. So we've doubled the data. We've got to keep that in mind. And they're nicely named. Look at that. So couch, blanket, pillow, base color. So when I bring my geometry in, and this is so awesome when I do this, I'm going to go into my props folder. All I need to do is shift click, highlight all of the geometry, drag it onto the scene, because each one of these objects is has its location described from the FBX. It all comes in the right position, but it's going to be a pain in the butt to move this all around. So I can highlight all of these things. They're already highlighted by default. And I can press this wondrous button up here, which says create a new folder that contains the current actor selections, and call this my couch. So from now on, I can collapse this. I can just right click, and I can say select all descendants, and then I can move that as a group. And as I mentioned before, now I can do the rotation that I want. like the other artist did. I could make the rotation decision in here, which is super great. Okay, now for these shaders, I'm just going to work on one and then stop the tutorial. I'm just going to work on couch main just to sort of make the case. It comes in with this one basic param here. This gray is driving into base color. It's a little bit difficult for me to work with because I don't have my two screens. So I'm just going to shove this to the side here. And I'm going to go back into my textures directory. And I'm going to look for all of those files, change my view options to columns. And I noticed earlier this doesn't really give me a lot of real estate here. I can't drag this over too much, but that's okay. Because I've named my base mesh just couch, so that's giving me a little bit more room to see what's going on here. So there's the one, 2, 3 texture files that relate to my shader. So I'm just going to drag them in. Oops, I got to shrink this window. Come on. And I can grab these files, 1, 2, 3, and just drag them into my shader network and make this big again. Make this big again. All right, now I can get rid of this param and start stacking my samples. Now I can never remember which one of these channels goes into the different, into the right spots, but we can pull the red and the green and the blue from this and apply them to the right spot. So first and foremost, I've got my my texture sample here. I really wish that Unreal would give you the name, but I double click on it, it takes me back to where it says that it is my base color. Double click, go back to the file. So I want to drive the RGB into the base color here. And this one is, double click, that is my, mouse over it, that's my normal. I can tell because it's got that weird color to it. Drive that into my normal. And then, yeah, I'm going to have to probably do a little bit of searching around on the old interwebs to find out exactly which one of these channels goes into which. But one of them is my roughness. I'm going to drive red into roughness. And yeah, maybe I'll just be happy with that. I'll plug my green into the metallic. That's driving the metalness. I will triple check and list this back on my, in the gobbledygoo down below, exactly which one of these channels goes into which one. But that's looking pretty good over here. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to save it. And because it's already got the name and it's already been assigned and the UVs are already there, then everything should work just great. When I close this down, I should see in my viewport that texture applied, and it is. I will do one more just for fun. One for fun. Go back into my props. And this time I will do the couch pillows material. I gotta set myself up again so I can do draggy droppies. A little bit frustrating without two monitors. Content, textures. Try to make that bigger so I can read what's going on. This is tricky. And there's my pillows. Couch pillows. What's this? Blanket base. 1, 2, 3. Drag those into my material. Make these windows big again. Clean up my shader nodes. Get rid of param. Drive my base color into base color. I know my funky blue looking texture here is my normal. And then I'll just drag red into roughness and green into metallic. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. One of these is my roughness. I probably have these wrong. but I will put the right order of events down in the gobbledygook of this video. Press save. I'm going to head back over to my scene. Got to hit save. And my pillows. Oh, I applied the wrong texture to the pillows. It's not rocket science to go back in and fix them up. Those should have been the denim. Anyway, you get the point. Seems to be fitting on quite nicely anyway, which is interesting, because I did bake them out of the other tool, out of Substance Painter. Anywho, so yeah, that's how we take the round trip from one person's project that's got strange names into Maya, reorganize the names of our shaders and our textures, and then get that into Substance, do some fun stuff, change colors of the existing textures in there, export a bunch of maps, and then bring them into Unreal. So yeah, I hope this tutorial was helpful. Have fun texturing, y'all. Bye-bye.